Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, let's pray and thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His gift so that I have finished the video for this thesis examination. Before I deliver my presentation, I would like to thank Mr. Gatot Nazir Ahmad and Mr. Muhammad Edo Suryawan Siregar as my lecturer who guided me to the end. Let me introduce myself. My name is Haneul and I'm from Management Study Program 2019, Faculty of Economics, State University of Jakarta. And today I will present my thesis about the effect of CEO characteristic on firm performance, analysis of financial sector companies listed on the IDX during the COVID-19 pandemic. I will explain a few parts. The first part is the introduction, second is literature review, the next is research method, then is result and discussion, and the last is closing. First of all, I will explain the introduction, and the first part of the introduction is the research background. The outbreak of the COVID-19 virus and increasing business competition is a challenge for the company. However, in the existing competition, the financial industry continues to grow. Every CEO has different characteristics, and this characteristic can have an impact on the company. Previous studies have shown the influence of CEO characteristic on company performance. However, there are inconsistent results between researchers with one another. In addition, the return on assets for financial sector companies decreased during the pandemic period, which finally motivated researchers to conduct further research. And next research question, did CEO power, CEO narcissism, CEO education, and CEO tenure have a significant positive effect on company performance in the financial sector listed on the IDX during the COVID-19 pandemic? And for the research objective is to test the influence of CEO power, CEO narcissism, CEO education, and CEO tenure on the performance of financial sector companies listed on the IDX during the COVID-19 pandemic. And next, research benefit. The theoretical benefit of this research is adding to the literature and empirical evidence on how CEO characteristics affect company performance in financial sector companies in Indonesia. And for the practical benefits of this research are divided into two, which are for the company is become a reference in choosing a CEO with the right characteristic to improve company performance, and for the investor provides views on how CEO characteristics affect company performance so that they can provide additional information for investors in considering investment decision in the company. Next, literature review. And I have used two supporting theory in this research. The first theory is agency theory. Agency theory is a contract between one or more people involving other people to carry out the principal's interest through delegation of authority to produce a decision. And second theory is upper echelon theory. This theory states that the characteristic of top management managerial background can affect company performance. Next, firm performance. Firm performance is the result of all decisions made continuously by management, and I use return on asset and Tobin's Q as proxies of firm performance. The formula of return on asset is net income divided to total asset, and the formula for Tobin's Q is market value share plus debt divided total assets. And here are the meaning of Tobin's Q value. If Q value bigger than 1, it means investment in profit-generating assets that provide a higher value than investment spending. And if Q less than 1, it means investment in asset is valued lower than investment spending. Next, CEO power. CEO power is the power by the CEO to be able to maintain control over the company. And the indicator of CEO power is share ownership. According to Macedonia et al., 2018, CEO ownership plays an important role and is able to influence company performance. CEO power is able to influence investor decision in investing. If investors have confidence in the CEO's leadership, it is not impossible for the company to benefit from the sale of its shares. Shares owned by the CEO are a form of strength for him. The greater the share ownership, the greater the CEO's power in leading the company. Previous research has found that CEO power has a positive and significant effect on company performance. So the first hypothesis of this research is CEO power has a significant positive effect on firm performance. Next, CEO narcissism. Narcissism is a condition where a person loves himself or has excessive self-confidence. Basically, CEO narcissism has its own impact and value for the company. And the indicator of CEO narcissism are number of social media owned by the CEO and photo size in the annual report. And according to Syarat all 2022, narcissism is part of the CEO's personality which is related to the quality of the company's earnings. Upper echelon theory underlies research on CEO narcissism. Narcissism is part of the CEO's personality which is related to the quality of company earnings. Because of strong self-confidence, a narcissistic CEO might be able to motivate his employees to improve performance through the enthusiasm and energy shown. Previous research has found that CEO narcissism has a positive and significant effect on company performance. So the second hypothesis of this research is CEO narcissism has a significant positive effect on firm performance. Next, CEO education. CEO education is a formal education taken by the CEO. Education can make a person's mind open and more innovative. The indicator of the CEO education is the CEO has an MM or MBA degree, and according to Sudana and Report 2018, CEOs who have a background in business are better able to utilize their managerial skills in managing the company. The educational background of the CEO is able to complement the skills of the CEO in conducting social relations. Proper education can help CEOs implement strategies and achieve the right goals to face competition in the field. The higher the education that the CEO takes and the relevance of CEO education is able to make it easier for them to improve company performance. Previous research has found that CEO education has positive and significant effect on company performance. So the third hypothesis is CEO education has a significant positive effect on firm performance. Next, CEO tenure. CEO tenure represents how long a CEO has served as head of the company, and the indicator of CEO tenure is the length of the CEO's tenure from the time he was appointed CEO. According to Shaw et al. 2020, a CEO who has a long tenure will be more likely to create a better and more appropriate strategy for his company. The longer CEOs stay in the position, the more power they amass and the more influence they have in the decision-making process. The CEO's tenure has an impact on increasing his ability to make decisions and maintain policies in managing the company due to the strategic advantage he has. Previous research has found that CEO tenure has a positive and significant effect on company performance. So, the last hypothesis of this research is CEO tenure has a significant positive effect on firm performance. And here are the hypothesis framework in this research. And next, the research method. The object of this research is EU characteristic on company performance, and for the sample, I use sample by selecting using purposive sampling method, and for the population is financial sector companies listed on the IDX for the 2017 to 2022 period, and the data collection use secondary data access from company website and IDX. And for the sample criteria in this research are listed on IDX for 2017 to 2022, published financial and annual reports for 6 consecutive years, have complete data as needed, and publish financial reports in rupiah. Next, dependent variable in this research are return on assets and Tobin skew. And for the independent variable, I use CEO power, CEO narcissism, CEO education, and CEO tenure. For the control variable, I use firm size, firm age, leverage, and risk management committee or RMC. And for the analysis technique, I use descriptive statistical analysis. The description of the collected data comes from the average or mean, standard deviation, maximum value, and minimum value. And next, I also use classic assumption test. The classic assumption test used is the multicollinearity test. And for the panel data regression analysis, I have used panel data approach, which are a common effect model, fixed effect model, and random effect model. And for the estimation model selection, I have used Chow test, Hostman test, and Lagrange multiplier test. And the last task in this research is hypothesis testing. The hypothesis testing used to find out the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. And the hypothesis testing divided into 3, which are determination coefficient test, F test, and also t test. Next, result and discussion. We can see the table of descriptive statistics for year 2017 to 2019, and this is the table of descriptive statistics for year 2020 to 2022. And there is regression model selection. From the result of selecting the regression model, it was found that the best model chosen for model 1 was random effect model, model 2 was common effect model, model 3 was random effect model, and model 4 was for fixed effect model. Next, the table on the screen shows the result of multicollinearity test for year 2017 to 2019. The table shows that the mean value of VIF less than 10 and the value of 1 divided VIF is bigger than 0.1. This shows that there is no correlation between variables in the study, so it can be concluded that there are no symptoms of multicollinearity in the data used. Next, then for the year 2020 to 2022 sample, it also shows that the mean VIF value is 1.41 less than 10 and the value 1 divided VIF bigger than 0.1, and this shows that there is no correlation between variables in this study, so it can be concluded that there are no symptoms of multicollinearity in the data used. Next, we have a 4 model regression. In the screen, we can see the model 1 before pandemic using return on asset, model 2 before pandemic using Tobin skew, model 3 during pandemic using return on asset and model 4 during pandemic using Tobin's cube. Next, panel data regression. From the table, we can see that the values for model 1, model 3, and model 4 are 0.0070, 0.0636, and 0.0069, which mean that the independent variables affect the dependent variable together. Meanwhile, for model 2, an F value of 0.4429 was found, which means that the independent variable cannot affect the dependent variable. The R-square value in model 1 is 0.1460, which means that the dependent variable is influenced by the independent variable by 14.60%. Model 2 is 0.0518, which means that the dependent variable is influenced by the independent variable by 4.018%, and model 3 is model 3 is 0.0949, which means that the dependent variable is influenced by the independent variable by 9.49%. And finally, model 4 is 0.0062, which means the dependent variable is influenced by the independent variable by only 0.62%, and the rest is influenced by other variables outside the study. And from the table, we can also see that CEO power during the pandemic and CEO education before the pandemic had a positive and significant effect on company performance, which was proxied using return on asset with probability values of 0.085 and 0.058. Meanwhile, CEO narcissism and CEO tenure have no effect on company performance. Next, the discussion of the effect of CEO power and firm performance. There are two different results. In a significant result in line with the research of Brahmana 2021, Erika et al. 2022, Firmansyah et al. 2019, Noval 2015, and Prachihara 2016. This may be influenced by share ownership is quite low. CEOs do not feel they own the company and are not motivated to improve company performance. On positive and significant results, this is in line with Aliva and Hartos Research 2021, Hamidlal and Harimawan 2021, Sudana and Putri 2018, and Fo and Nguyen 2014. This may be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The CEO takes action and implements strategies so that the company remains stable and avoids existing threats. Next, the discussion of the effect of CEO narcissism on firm performance. The results were not significant either before the pandemic or during the pandemic. This is in line with the research by Kusia et al. 2022, Melanie et al. 2022, and Mutiarni et al. 2022. This happens because company performance cannot be measured based on CEO narcissism. CEO narcissism may affect employee motivation at work, but that does not mean it affects company performance. Next, the discussion of the effect of CEO education on firm performance. There are also two different results. In positive and significant results, this is in line with last research 2017, Gamal and Purboku 2017, King et al. 2016, and Saidu 2019. and Setiawan and Gestanti 2018. This may be influenced by CEO with MM or MBA educational background who are better able to manage companies, resulting in higher return on asset. On a significant result, this is in line with the research of Ahmed et al. 2022, Arlim and Juliana 2017, Fujianti 2018, and Ilham 2018. This may be affected by no strategy prepared by management to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. And the last, discussion of the effect of CEO tenure on firm performance. The results were not significant either before the pandemic or during the pandemic. This is in line with the research of Ahmad et al. 2022, Apriliani et al. 2020, Karinda et al. 2022, Kartikaning and Putri 2017 and Kusumasari 2018. This happens because CEOs find it difficult to get out of their comfort zone and maintain the same strategy. They also tend to lack stability and easily satisfied, so the motivation to innovate is reduced. And the last is closing. The conclusion of this research is this study examines the influence of CEO characteristic on company performance. The study found that CEO power had an effect on company performance during the COVID-19 pandemic, but had no effect before the pandemic. Then CEO education had an effect on company performance before the pandemic, but had no effect during the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, CEO narcissism and CEO tenure had no effect on company performance before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, the implication of this research. For the theoretical implication is aiding to the literature on the influence of CEO characteristic, namely CEO power and CEO education on company performance. And for the practical implication, are divided into two, which are for companies, it can be more considered to appoint a CEO as the leader of the company by looking at share ownership and educational background. And for the investor, this research can be used as a reference in making decision to invest in companies by considering share ownership and the CEO's educational background as one of the criteria in investment decision. And there are three limitations of this research. The first is the sample used is only the financial sector listed on the IDX. Next, the sample used in the regression model is only within 3 years, and the company's performance variable is only proxied using return on asset and Tobin skew, and CEO characteristic also only use CEO power, CEO narcissism, CEO education, and CEO tenure. And I have recommendation for further research. The first is for the research can use a sample of other sector companies or several other sectors and use a different research period and can also use samples from other countries. For the research can add other independent variables such as CEO gender, CEO age, CEO duality, CEO nationality, which are tough to have a significant influence on company performance. And the last, using other company performance proxies such as return on equity or ROE and return on investment or ROI, or using other dependent variables such as company value and CSR. So that's all from me. I apologize if there is a mistake. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.